Come on, whether we know it or not, God's created our brain, and this is scientific. There's a little part of your frontal lobe that acts like a filing cabinet. And the way this filing cabinet is actually filed is based on your attraction to whatever you're attracted to. In other words, the importance you give something. So you haven't been thinking about a new vehicle for a long time, and all of a sudden you take it in, and the garage says, you know, this is not going to last too long. I'd actually start looking for a new one. And so you go to whatever dealership you want to go to, and of course the lights are just perfect, and the cars are so nice on the inside. You walk in, and ding, ding, you just see what you see, and you think, man, I wonder if I can get that. And they say, hey, we got 60 months, no interest. Come on in. We got a special deal coming. You think, man, I can actually get this. Now, you don't actually drive home with the car because they're going to get it ready for you. But while you drive home that night, you see those cars everywhere. You're like, there's my... and that's the... And you're thinking, I never saw that before. I know, but it was never important to you before. And because it became so important and you actually had feelings and emotions that were attached to it, it went right to the front of the file cabinet. And at the front of the file cabinet, your soul, your spiritual person on the inside will and lock onto what's most important. You'll find it and you'll experience it. How come we ain't experiencing Jesus all the time? Because he's somewhere in the back of the file. I think he's in here somewhere. Let me just keep on looking. Maybe it's this drawer. I think he's in here some. See, when all of a sudden the importance is about Jesus becomes all that your life is consumed about, he's in the front, and you'll find him everywhere. How can I find him everywhere? Because he is everywhere. We ought to be bumping off of Jesus constantly, and we act like we can't find him. I've been seeking the Lord for 2 years. I'm just trusting that I'll find him. Well, bless your darling heart. Start unattaching yourself from the things that you're finding. Well, let's just go down the line. What's most important to you? And all of a sudden you get 4 or 5 things. You say, now, I know you have to be involved in these things. Actually, 3 of them you don't. But the others you do. Can you take those other 2 and take the importance level of those and bring it right down to about a 1 or a 2? Now, you're still functioning in it. You're still engaged when you do, but it's not your life. He's your life. Can you give him the importance that you're giving this particular part of your life? Because if you can, then he can get involved to make what you used to think was most important better than it ever could have been. And you don't actually have to be at the forefront of it. I was sharing something like this, and a hand went up in the back of the auditorium, and someone just blurted out, well, I can't do that. I'm too busy. So I said, well, do tell. What do you do? And I wasn't necessarily prepared for what she said. She said, I knit. Well, just like you, I kind of went, okay. Can you elaborate on that? She said, well, actually, she said, I'm very good at it. And she said, a friend of mine said, why don't you put up some of the things that you've done on the internet and see if you can sell them? And I have so many orders, I'm inundated. I don't have time for anything. I said, you ever thought about having someone help you? Yes, I asked my mom to help me, but I was fixing her mistakes. And it actually cost me extra time. So now I take my knitting needles with me everywhere I go. Any second I have, I am just going as fast as I can. I said, okay, I'm not going to try to not make you take your knitting needles. The only problem is you've never thought about asking Jesus to take his. She said, what? I said, ask Jesus to get his knitting needles out. His knitting needles out. Whatever those are, I said, ask Jesus to get them and to do what you do. And she said, well, I said, listen, and I just perceived this. I said, probably you'll do a better job. You'll get it done in much quicker time. And then I perceived this, so I said, and you'll probably be a happy person to your family when you're done. Because I perceived that she probably was a real piece of work. And she shouted out, well, I can do that. And I said, I'm not asking you to do something you can't do. It's all about where your priorities are and where your energy goes. Where do your thoughts and emotions, and where does the energy of your life go? Does it go to Jesus or does it go to the world? Because we're already good at the world. Our attachments from our body to the world are like, we can manifest all kinds of stuff. You just get somebody that has a pain in their chest or a pain in their back and have them go to the emergency room, and that doctor says, well, it looks like it could be. It didn't say it is. It just looks like it could be. And within 24 hours, it is. Because you're so aware of the negativity of this world and you're attached to it so well, you can manifest it if you want to. Do you know Jesus did say all things are possible to him that, well, if you believe in it, you can have it. Well, it's not the right thing. I know, but you're so used to the wrong thing and we're so influenced by the world. You need to learn to have that meter, that ridiculous meter, that baloney meter, that BS meter. Sorry, I said it. That BS meter. You need to have that working in your life, because the moment it goes ding, 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 you say, I'm done. I'm not participating in this anymore. And the moment you do, you stay attached to him. Jesus did it all the time. His brothers came and said, oh, you know, the feast is going on. Everybody wants to see you. He said, it's not my time. Ding, 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 ding. I'm not even going to let my family push me into something that my father's not telling me to do. He stayed completely what? In the will of God, by being able to recognize what was ridiculous and of no effect to his spirit, to protect the connection that caused the miracles to pop like they were popcorn, and it made him look like he was something beyond anything we'll ever be, and yet he was just showing us what we are. The prototype to a brand new creation is what Jesus was. And we're supposed to look at him and do what he does. That's why he was amazed when Philip said, show us the Father. And he said, well, wait a minute, how long have you been with me? He said, well, a long time. He said, well, if you've seen me, Philip, you've seen the Father. And so really you could say it this way, if you've seen us, we're supposed to be able to say you've seen the Christ. But if we're not able to give the same Christ to the world that Jesus really is, it's just because we are attached to the world. I'm telling you, that whole thing works. It's the old-fashioned balance scale. Well, it's because I haven't. No, stop. Don't do all that. Just make it simple. I'm too attached to the world. So then ask yourself, where am I too attached? Come on, you may be over the top when it comes to politics. Lessen it. Is it your job? No. Well, then lessen it. Don't go over the top. Know when to stop. I got into finding out about what was going on in this world for one reason. Because of my daughter. She went to school and she came back a different person. They trained her well. They indoctrinated her to think a particular way. That didn't put Jesus first. That actually pushed Jesus aside. So I thought, I want to find out what's going on in these schools, what they're teaching, what all this stuff is, what this woke garbage is, what all this other thing is. I want to find out what it's all about, because I need to know a little bit about it to be able to pray, to be able to have a conversation. And so as I got into it, yeah, there's parts of it that I like listening to. But I can stop a conversation if it needs to be stopped. Some people can't stop a conversation. And they get over the top, man. They'll get mad. It's not worth all that, folks. It's just not worth all that. We're seated in heavenly places. I don't know what we're doing being so concerned about. Huh?